Hi. First of all, now even with the polarization filter, so I hope you can all hear me. And sorry, first of all, for the delay in getting this started. I had some horrible technical issues here. So first, the microphone was constantly getting distorted noises, and then I rebooted the system, and then the camera was all choppy, and it was just a horrible, horrible mess. And yeah, I hope it's fluid now and it's working now and everything is fine, and that none of these issues will come back soon. And I also hope that the stuff that I set up for this iteration of the OctoPrint code and chat live stream actually works, because I changed the layout of things slightly so that you will this time hopefully not only be able to see my screen, which will be on the right side over there, but also the live chat as it happens. No idea if this will actually work or not. We'll have to see, but the preview at least looks good. So what will we do today? I got an idea sent in by Christopher, aka Ramses, who's also now in the live chat. Hi. To code up a plugin that basically measures the throughput that goes through the serial line. So the number of lines that get sent to the printer and the number of lines that get received from the printer per second. Something like that. And then of course, also to make this more fancy, then with maybe like the actual bytes per second throughput numbers and spark lines that plot this over time and stuff like that. And so the idea for today will be to start on this plugin and to hopefully get the basic functionality implemented. And the nice thing about this idea is that it gets that it will tour us through parts of OctoPrint, like oh damn, I'm still all stuff is not working, like shaking a bit. So sorry for that. Yeah, so we will learn how to first of all set up a basic plugin structure again, which we already learned last week. I'm going to, yeah, this is better. We are also going to see how to intercept what is going to the printer and coming from the printer, because we'll need to do that in order to count lines. We'll learn how to push data live to the front end. We'll learn how to do repeated tasks over time. We'll learn how to adjust the front end and stuff like that. So that's the current idea. I hope that things will work out like I'm envisioning them right now, because I obviously did not code this prior to this session, but instead will do it live with all of you. And I have no idea if the ideas that I have on how to solve the various problems will work, but we'll see. And yeah, so that's the basic idea for now. Also, just some personal comment from my side, because today is actually, or rather yesterday was actually a bit of a special day, because on April 13th, 2016, I launched my Patreon campaign to support the ongoing my ongoing involvement with OctoPrint and basically my full-time work on OctoPrint and the full-time maintenance. So it's now been 4 years and 1 day that I've been doing this 100% crowdfunded, and yeah, that's something that I'm really, really grateful for, that this actually works, because back then, 4 years ago, when I pushed the launch button on this, I certainly did not expect to be still doing it in this mode in 2020. To be honest, I expected it to spectacularly fail, but I figured I'd at least have to try it this way after my single sponsor back then had to step down, because the alternative options would have been to stop working on OctoPrint entirely, because it was simply not something that I would have still been able to do on the side as a side gig, as a pet project. And so, yeah, this is really unexpected how it worked out and all that. So yeah, thanks to everyone who over the years has supported me, is still supporting me. It means a whole lot to see that the community not only takes what I give out, but actually gives back and ensures that stuff can go on. And yeah, that's really awesome. And I feel like I'm in a very privileged position to say that my work, my open source work, is being funded by the people that I'm actually making it for. And yeah, it's been a ride. It's been a ride, and I'm a bit at a loss of words on how to communicate my emotions about this. So just let's leave it at that and switch over. Also, in case you're seeing me look up there occasionally, that's where the live chat is. Yeah, for me. So okay. Look at that, it's a live chat and it's a shiny new layout. And I also put on the bottom, I put what we are currently working on. Because I'm hoping that will help a bit with the constant questions in the live chat over the course of the live stream. What are we doing right now? So at least now you have a rough idea of what we are doing. And you also have the live chat on the right, and you have the main screen, or rather the second screen, my second screen. In the middle. Right, so first things first, I prepared a little bit of, we are not going to do that now. I prepared some, a very small outline of what we want to do. Oh, the font is still too small, I guess, in the IDE. I'm going to increase it a bit. The idea is that we are going to work on this plugin called OctoPrint Terminal Stats today. Idea by Roms, or Romses. Today he's in the chat as Romses. The goal is to get an indicator of lines per second sent to and received from the printer in the front end. And further enhancement down the road will be getting this measurement not in lines per second, but in actual bytes per second, getting some kind of sparkline plotting of the throughput over time. And very important for actual production use of something like this is to separate the monitoring process or the stats collection into its own process and do the counting and such via some kind of inter-process communication, because the last thing that we want to do is actually slow down the throughput that we can achieve by counting it or by measuring it. So this is something that we might take a closer look at down the line. I currently have no idea if it will really be necessary, and also, I'm not entirely sure on how exactly to achieve it, but yeah, this is something that immediately popped up in my head when I started thinking about this whole plugin. The tasks that we are going to tackle for this is, first, we are going to create a plugin project like we did last time for this quick throwaway debug plugin that we wrote. We are going to hook into sending and receiving of lines to and from the printer. And then we're going to implement some kind of worker inside the plugin that pushes the count of the lines to the front end every 5 seconds or so, and resets the counter after each push, so that we always get like 5. So we start at second 1, then we count the line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then the timer fires, sees, it was 5 lines sent, 2 receives or something, pushes this to the front end, resets these numbers, and then the next 5-second run happens, and so on and so on and so on. And we probably only want to do that when the printer is connected, but yeah. And finally, we need some part in the front end, some kind of component that listens on these push events that we get from the server, and then updates a small counter that or counter display thingy unit that we inject into the terminal tab. So this is the rough 50,000 foot perspective on how we are going to achieve all this. So let's start with the basics first. I actually need the git bash first. I had all of this prepared until I had to do this untimely reboot due to the audio and video issues, or rather due to the audio issues that then led to video issues. Totally great. And also I already wrote it in the chat, but I did not yet say it here. I have a new keyboard. And this new keyboard means I also now am currently switching my brain over from the German to the US keyboard layout. And yeah, things are similar, but sometimes they are different enough that you might see a lot more typos today from me than you are used to, especially when it comes to any kind of the symbols like brackets, square brackets, round brackets, stuff like that. So it's not that I'm not able to type, it's just that I'm currently slightly having to relearn how to type. So much for my excuses. I just had to get this out, but as you might be able to hear, it's not that bad, and I actually am quite up to speed already. So we have here a git bash with my Python 2.7 virtual environment already activated. Come to think of it, I could also work in Python 3 maybe. Okay, we'll now leave it here for now. I have had enough stress already for today without having to change stuff now. What we're going to do first is we are going to create a new plugin called, what did we say, terminal stats? And so this looks okay, this looks okay, this looks okay as well. My name is this, and oh no, wait, the add is here. And we are going to push this, if we are going to actually push it, but I think if, plugin version, we are get an indicator, what did I say? Get an indicator of lines per second sent to received from the printer in the front end. That's okay, that's okay, that's okay, that's okay as well. And now it's generating the sources for us. And they are here. And that's actually looking okay. So, and then we're going to switch over into PyCharm and are going to import the project that we just created. And for that I first have to find it in this mess here. Terminal stats, there it is. And we want to attach it, I think. Yep, that looks correct. Also, why is there so much stuff open here that we don't need? Can we just close all? Yay, awesome. Oh, right, and I just remembered I actually wanted to, where was this? I installed something so that I could have it show you the shortcuts that I would use. And I almost forgot to re-enable that again. I think it was this one. Right. Presentation Assistant. I hope this works now. Oh, I just unloaded it. That was not the intention. Okay. The question is, where was it again that I could enable it again? I remember disabling it, and then now I can't remember where to enable it again. That is a bit unfortunate, actually. Nope. Editor maybe? Appearance and behavior? Presentation Assistant. Horizontal alignment center is okay, vertical bill, main key, yeah, but I want to enable it, please. Oh, fun. Nope. Let me quickly Google that in a different window. Presentation Assistant, PyCharm, enable. This is weird. I was pretty sure that I I remember it was a setting somewhere in the view actually enter presentation mode. No, because the presentation mode is something different. Nope. Description of actions is enabled. Ah well. What does it do when I do this? Oh, look, it is working. Okay, all is fine. So apparently it was enabled after all. Never mind. Or maybe it got re-enabled when I quickly disabled and re-enabled the plugin completely. I don't know. So we are going to close the OctoPrint thing, and we are also going to close that because we are only interested for now in this here, terminal stats. So this is a freshly generated OctoPrint plugin. We already went over what we are seeing here last time briefly, but I'm still going to do it again for those of you who are watching this for the first time, or who simply did not watch the last episode. But what happened here is that this this command that we ran here, this OctoPrint dev plugin new with the identifier, generated for us a fresh folder structure, and in this folder structure we can find the setup py, which is the basic installation thing. If we might need any kind of Python dependencies down the road in our plugin that are not included in OctoPrint by default, we can add them here, but for now we'll just leave everything in here as is, because what we had generated here actually looks fine. Even my name was encoded correctly. Oh right, sorry, yeah, the font size. I forgot. Let me quickly increase that slightly. Font. Ooh, this is going to be big. Let's try 16 point for now, and if this is still too small, we can up it to 17, but that is a bit, it's starting to get really, really big. Then we have a requirements.txt in the generated folder structure, which basically makes this work with the plugin. It also generates a basic README, which right now is very full of to-do tags, and we're going to take care of that once we actually think about publishing it, so not for now. Then this stuff is needed for the whole plugin package to actually build correctly. We have a git ignore file that gets generated for us so that things that should not be committed into a Git repository aren't committed into a Git repository. We also have a .editor config in here that makes sure that our code is being formatted correctly by editors that support that thing. Babel CFG is for translating things in case we want to, or in case we have any kind of strings in our plugin that need translation or might need translation, and this is explained in here how to use that. We are going to ignore that for now. Extras is just the a blueprint of a plugin registration document that you could use in order to register any kind of new plugins that you create this way on the plugin repository, the official one, because this is the format that is expected there. We're also for now going to ignore that. And then we have the main folder with the actual plugin package. And I also just heard that apparently the font size is great now, so yay! Yeah, so plugin package with the dunder init py here already pre-filled with a basic plugin class that implements the settings in a set plugin and a template plugin. And I quickly have to mute my apologies. Yeah, have to mute my phone alarm because that was just my reminder that under usual circumstances I should stop working about now, but we're going to continue obviously. Where was I? Right, so a settings plugin in order to store settings. I'm not sure yet if we will actually need that in our terminal stats plugin, but for now we'll leave it in there. And a set plugin in order to inject stuff into the front end. We'll definitely need this. A template plugin in case we want to add stuff like new tabs, new settings, dialogues, or something like that. I don't actually think that we will need that, so I'm going to remove this now. Because while we will add stuff to the terminal tab, but we cannot do this over a register template or something, we will have to do that through JavaScript anyhow. So we are going to do this. And what it also does is it prepares a software update hook for you, pre-filled with everything. So if I were to push this now to the GitHub repository of user OctoPrint with the name OctoPrint-terminal stats, then and created Git releases, GitHub releases for this plugin, then the whole of software update mechanism would already work just fine. We can actually delete this, and we can delete this. Terminal stats plugin for now is fine. We now have to tell OctoPrint that our plugin will obviously be developed so that it supports both Python 2.7 and 3.7 plus, and the delete key was here, I think. Yeah. And everything else can actually be deleted. Yeah, and also this line as well. This was the Y. Did you know that on the German keyboard layout compared to the US layout, the Y and the Z key are reversed or swapped? So yeah, this is kind of fun. All right, and this is just registering our software update configuration hook up here with the system. Okay, so this is the very basic plugin structure. We are going to ignore the red up here. For some reason, I always get that, even though I wanted Control and not Shift. Yeah, so now we have our basic plugin structure. We can just do this. And now we want to hook into sending and receiving lines. So ignore that, that's from an earlier. So we're going to look into the docs because the documentation is your friend. And in order to hook into the received and sent lines, we are going to implement the OctoPrint COM protocol G-code send hook and the OctoPrint COM protocol G-code received hook. So let's take a look at those. The first one is this one. That we want to use, and maybe a word on why we are using send and not queuing, queued, or sending. So it's explained a bit here, but too long didn't read. Queuing is triggered just before or just when a line is entering the send queue. Queued is after it entered the send queue. So you can still modify it during the queuing phase. When it's queued, it's in the queue like it is. And sending and send is basically the same, but for when it actually gets sent to the printer. So sending is just before it's being sent to the printer. You can still change the line. You can still adjust things, or you can even still stop the line from being sent at all. And send is triggered right after it got sent. So the line has gone through the printer, or rather the line has been handed over to the serial layer, because, yeah, depending on the operating system, that does not necessarily mean it immediately gets sent. But for measuring, I think this one will be just fine, because we want to measure stuff when it has been sent and not when we are about to send it. And the receiving one, yeah, the received hook is similar. Whenever we read a new line from the printer, this hook gets triggered so that we can modify the line before it gets processed further. So that is the idea. And about the question in the live chat right now on what I'm using there, yeah, this IDE that I use is PyCharm. It's somewhat tiny up here. And for configuration files and such, I also use Visual Studio Code, but without, so there is no specific plugin or anything like that. It's just I use it as a dump text editor mostly. But yeah. Okay, so as we said, first of all we need to implement the G-code send hook, because we want to count the lines that get sent to the printer. So we are going to try to find the quote, double quote, which is there. And then we are going to do that. And we are line send handler. We are going to, this does not yet exist. We are going to create a new function that's named this way, and then we're going to do that here again, but this time we're going to use received. And then we are just doing the same plugin implementation dot line. See, this was an example of a case of US versus German layout just now. So, and now we need to take a look. Yeah, also don't get confused why I constantly press Ctrl S, because PyCharm actually does this for you, but it's still a habit that I cannot really shake to, yeah, hit Ctrl S from time to time. And now we need to look at how this handler actually has to look that we are going to. So I'm just going to take all these parameters over here, copy them, and then I'm going to create the handler. So, oh dear. Give me a moment, I have to find the tilde character. I think it's here. Ha, look at that. I found it. Isn't this great? Gina is learning a new layout. And this is end, yeah. Also there was a question earlier if I need an alt layer to get to the sharp S in German and all that by Andrew. Yes, because it is actually US layout that I'm running here, so not US international. But what I did is I used Autohotkey in order to map the right alt plus A, O, U, and S to the German umlaut equivalents. I posted it on Twitter this earlier today, so if you need this Autohotkey script, I put it on GitHub so you can fetch it. And yeah, the link is on Twitter. So this is the G-code line send hook. And we are also going to need the G-code line received hook. And we have, how did we say we are going to call it? Line send handler. Yeah, this is some parentheses too much here. So this looks like this. We're going to implement that in a second. And then we also have the line received handler, Jesus. And that has down, has these attributes. Like this. Okay. So, what happens here? Whenever OctoPrint will send a line to or will have sent a line to the printer, it will call this hook among other things, and it will provide it with the communication layer over which the line was sent, the sending phase, which in this case will always be sent. We could reuse this same handler for other phases in case we have to do different stuff and all that, which is why this is in there. The command is the actual command that was sent over the line, but without line numbers, if I remember correctly. The command type is, yeah, that. So there's this concept in OctoPrint that you can attach a type to some lines that you send over to the printer, so that it is so that the send queue will make sure that you do not send more than one of these to the printer in a very short time frame. So for example, whenever I poll the printer's temperature, it has the command type temperature. The M105 that I send has the command type temperature. So in case the communication gets stalled or anything like that, I will not enqueue a ton of M105 requests. Never mind. We're not, yeah, so after the communication gets going again, I don't know, maybe it was blocked for the user to change filament or something like that. So in order to avoid that right after that, you're getting swamped with 100 M105 requests. Instead, the send queue will prevent anything to enter the queue with a type that is already in the queue. So this is what this is for, but this is not going to really be interesting for us for this specific plugin. I just figured it might make sense to mention it because it's an implementation detail that might help you. Yeah, then we have the G code. So I don't know, if I send something like G28X0Y0Z0 to the printer, then command will be G28X0Y0Z0 and G code will be just G28. So this is nice and handy to easily parse out, or rather use the already parsed out G code. The subcode is in case of, yeah, there are some G codes that can have so-called subcodes. Completely fictional example because I can't think of something right now, but if there was a subcode 3 for G28, it would be G28.3, and then the subcode would be the 3. Tags are any tags that are associated with the command. We're going to ignore that, and asterisk ask and double asterisk KWRs is just so that in case that the signature of this method changes, your code will still work. So this is basically going to make it so that Python will stuff anything that is neither any additional positional arguments into this, and any keyword arguments that are neither subcode nor tags into this. And this way the signature always matches. Okay, so what do we want to do? We want to count lines, first of all. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create, first of all, 2 new... wait, we're going to actually do that. Oh no, we can do that. Okay, I think so. Yeah. Thunder. Right. Yeah. We're going to create self underscore send lines counter, which we are going to, no, where is there? And we are going to do the same for received lines, which we also for now set to 0. And what we're now simply going to do is whenever we send a line, we are going to increment send lines by 1. And we are going to do exactly the same, or no, not exactly the same, but the mirror image of that whenever we receive a line. So so this should for now just send any kind of line that was sent and received, and the counter currently is not being reset. So even if we reconnect and such, that will not cause these counters to be reset. In order to do that, because we really only want to do that Ooh, so many questions in the live stream. Give me a second here. Justin asks if there is anything he needs to do beyond adding the Python compat to his plugin to make it Python 3 compatible. Yep, it's in the migrating Python 3 documentation here. In you look into, oh, that was wrong. You look into developing plugins, migrating to Python 3, and telling OctoPrint your plugin is Python 3 ready, and it tells you to do that. And it also tells you that you need this in the compatibility flags on the plugin repository. Okay. And what else was here? Oh dear, yeah. Python 2 to 3 plugin conversion in the live stream. We might also think about it. And Jim, yeah, it is a current maintenance branch, but I'm not yet completely aware, or rather not completely familiar yet with your changes. So I'm not entirely sure if I dare to use that now. But yeah, and good night, Andrew. So we're going to also use this, and just as an explanation, what this mixin does is, where is it? There it is. On any kind of event, it will call us. And the idea here is that we will hook into the connection event. So when the printer connects to the serial, and also when it disconnects from the serial again. When OctoPrint connects to the serial and also disconnects from the serial again. Slight caveat here. Events are asynchronous, so it is not that. So the thing is that. There might be a slight delay between an event actually being triggered and me as the plugin receiving it. There's also no way to stall event processing or something like that to make sure that, or rather to stall connecting so that I'm sure to have finished running my code that reacts to the connect event before OctoPrint continues its flow. So this stuff is asynchronous. It is not going to matter for this specific implementation or thing that we are going to build here. I just thought I should maybe mention it. Yeah. Also, I just realized that I forgot to close my door, so let me quickly change that. Now that's better. Okay. Right. Oh. Where was I? Event handler plugin, yeah. So, okay, we are going to implement this onEvent method and are going to have it hook into two events so that we can reset our count. Or actually, for now, we only need one event, come to think of it. So, looking at the available events, we are interested in connecting to the printer. So this is probably something that belongs in the category printer communication. And indeed, there is this here or this here. I think we are probably going with connected because it feels like this makes more sense here. Event handler plugin. We are going to add that here. Where was that again? There. Ooh, okay. I'm getting the hang of it. It's just going to be a bit painful until I fully have it on event. Was it just on event? Right. Oh, great. On event. And then it gets event and payload. Event and payload. And if the event is, where's the, there. So, and instead of having to type in connecting now, which is not that long, but still it might change or something, we are going to actually import octoprint.events and are going to use the constant octoprint events connected, right? Yeah. So if our event is this, then we're going to reset both counters to 0. Also, good point by Can't Live Long or by Sean. Yeah, we can also use the printer callback, but yeah, we're going to do it with an event handler for now because that also introduces the concept of an event handler. And for this application, it's simply easier to do that instead of implementing a whole printer callback or wrapping your head around that. Okay. So what we have now is we have two counters initially at 0, but they also get reset to 0 whenever we connect to the printer. So if we disconnect and reconnect and disconnect and reconnect, that stuff will always be 0. We will not carry over stuff from previous sessions. And we're going to increment the send lines by 1 and increment the received lines by 1 whenever we send or received, or rather have sent or have received a line from the printer. So far so good. Not really tricky so far. What we now want to do is that we actually want to repeatedly, every 5 seconds or so, want to lock this. I mean, long term we want to actually push it to the UI, but for now we are going to just have it lock to terminal. Yeah. So what we need is a timer that does that for us, and for now we are going to declare that it actually exists. And then we are going to initialize. Was it initialized or initialized? I have to check. And I actually check in the docs because, yeah, that's what they are for. Startup plugin? No. Shutdown? No. What wasn't it? Wait. Reload. I think it was initialized. And I wish I would. Where was this documented? General concepts? Life cycle? Life cycle. Life cycle actually looks okay. Sounds okay. Each plugin from first load and enable, disabling, blah 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 blah. So plugin load, enable, plugin unload. Initialize, there it is. So if as soon as the framework has started up, inject dependencies into implementation, and then it calls initialize. And I'm pretty sure this is also documented somewhere else, and I just can't find it right now, which means I have to improve this part of the docs. Was it here? Oh, great. This is so helpful. Yeah, I need to improve the docs here. Okay, ignore that. Nothing to see. Moving along. And then, okay, so now we are going to create the timer. And there's actually a nice little helper class that I actually use in the COM layer itself in order to do this regular M105 polling if it's needed and stuff like this. So I'm going to use, and Jim already spoiled it, the repeated timer class, which is an internal module living in the OctoPrint.util namespace. There it is, the repeated timer. So an action that should be run repeatedly in an interval, similar to Python's own timer class, but instead of only running once, it will be run again and again. And it sleeps the configured interval in between. So the basic gist of it is just you declare it, you tell it the interval and the method to call repeatedly, and then it will do that after you tell it to start. And that's about it. More than that we don't actually need for now, because this is at least this is for now going to be what we want in order to log repeatedly the values of the counters to the OctoPrint log at first, and later also to push the data to the UI. We might implement a condition in order to limit it to when we actually connect to a printer, but we'll take a look at that then. So first of now, the very, very basic approach. So we're going to import OctoPrint.util. And then we are going to initialize an OctoPrint.util repeat method timer, and I will never understand why sometimes it does do stuff and sometimes it doesn't. And then we are going to use and so far not existing constant. We are going to declare that right now, and also a so far non-existing worker method. So first of all, the constant. We are going to declare interval as, there's the equals, as a value of 5.0, 5 seconds. And we are also going to, we're going to put that here. Yes, there is no rule to where to put stuff in your class. I'm simply trying to always keep the hooks and the mix-in implementations and all that somehow together, and also document which part belongs to which handler, which part belongs to which hook. It's a bit of a habit, but it's not like something that you have to do. It just works great for me. So, and every time that we do this, we are going to use the logger, which gets injected into our plugin implementation. So whenever we have something that with OctoPrint gets registered as plugin implementation, OctoPrint will inject a bunch of stuff in here, one of which is a logger. The other stuff can be found here in the docs under injected properties. So we have all of this, which is part of our implementation, and we're currently using this, which is a Python logger instance that logs to OctoPrint plugin dot, and in our case this will be terminal stats. Yeah, and we're going to, use the info level here, and then we are going to log. Oh right, wait. We actually want this code to have Unicode literals, because, and also while we are at it, this is how was it called? Right. If you're wondering what I'm putting up there, this is part of this whole Python 2 versus Python 3 stuff, and actually relevant so that our code behaves the same. I just did that in order to make sure that that stuff behaves the same in Python 2 and 3, because in Python 3 all of the literals, so strings that are just encased in quotes, nothing more, double quotes, are Unicode, and this makes it so that Python 2 behaves the same. And yeah, we also want this. We're not going to use it, but oh, it actually is already in there. Oh, that's a typo. That should be absolute import, not absolute import. And integer division also differs between 2 and 3, and this makes it so that 2 also behaves like 3. Yeah, so we are just future-proofing our code here. And Jim asks what the Python logic is for underscores versus not in function definitions. It's just like best practice if it's a. So I come from the Java world, and in the Java world, and also I think in C++, if I remember correctly, you have this concept that you have public methods, protected methods, and private methods. Public being those that are part of the public interface of a class. Protected being those which are not part of the public interface but can be overridden by subclasses, and private are not overridden, sorry, can be called by subclasses. There was also, I think, something that was package scope, but yeah, regardless. And private are those that cannot even be called by subclasses. They are just invisible. And the general consensus in Python is something like anything without an underscore is public, anything with an underscore is protected, part of the protected interface. And yeah, I've also seen some stuff where it was like a double underscore in front, only in front, is private, but so I just usually leave it with none or one. The double underscore around stuff, like here in plugin name, also commonly called dunder, because double under, and yeah, you as a Python developer, you don't constantly want to say double underscore plugin underscore name double underscore, but instead you just say dunder plugin name. Yeah, that is for special methods, or in this case special fields, though this is my own creation, the whole plugin system mechanism and stuff. I'm not entirely sure if it's 100% Pythonic, but for example, if you wanted to override how an instance of this terminal stats plugin gets represented as a string, or rather by the wrapper function, then you would override the dunder wrapper method. So this is just Python 101. And oh right, yeah, and there's also this throwaway statement that Justin mentions there. If you just do, I don't know, if you want to reiterate over something for underscore in range 200 or 100, yeah, be a witness to my suffering with a US keyboard, and you want, I don't know, you want to print hello Livestream 100 times. You are not really interested in the value. So this range 100 thing will return 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And you could, in theory, use this value for something, but we do not do that inside this for thing here, for loop here. And so we just throw it away. And to mark something as throwaway, not really used, but you still need it in order for the syntax to be correct, you use this underscore thing. It's a valid variable name, but the common agreement among Python developers is this means it's not going to be used and just going to be thrown away. Yeah, no, we don't want control Y. I want control Y. Oh dear. Welcome to Gina is learning a US layout 101. Okay. Also, by the way, because I just have it sitting here next to me, this is a really great book on this matter, and I hope you can actually see that because I don't have it. Yeah, right. So, Effective Python by Brett Slatkin has a bunch of this stuff inside, and now I have to somehow wiggle it back into my shelf here. And there's also Fluent Python, which is like this big, by oh dear, things just fell down. We're going to ignore that, by Luciano Ramalho. So yeah, good books. I can recommend them. I have them both physically and digitally, actually, because I like them so much. And I'm not getting paid to say this. It's my honest and real opinion. Anyhow, we wanted to log something. So for now, we are simply going to say send lines. And then and received lines. And then another placeholder. And then, yeah, nope. And then we are going to inject our, we started with send, yeah. And also the other one. And then we are going to reset both. And this is simply, if you want to set both to the same value, you can just do that. That's easier than doing that in 2 lines. And I feel a sneeze coming up, so apologies in advance if it gets really loud all of a sudden. Okay, so this should, in theory, hopefully, maybe, I don't know, already do what, yeah, the very basic part of counting the sent and received lines and logging them to the console. That was the word that I was looking for. So we still haven't registered this plugin actually with OctoPrint, so we're going to do that now. I totally forgot that actually. So we are simply going to do pit install -e dot. So I mentioned it last time, I'm going to mention it again. This -e here, this makes it so that I don't have to do pip install every single time that I modify the sources, but I instead just tell it, by the way, this is an editable source. That's what the -e is for. And then instead of copying everything, so building a package and then copying this package over into the side packages folder from Python and then only using that copy, it is simply putting a link into side packages instead that points back to this folder, so that Python knows, okay, when I'm looking for this in this package, it's located actually over here. And whenever I change something, Python will know about, not immediately, of course, because I have to restart the server, but you get the drift. So I don't have to actually constantly reinstall things. It will just update in line, so to speak. So we're going to do that. And the dot just tells it to install. Oh, wait, what is wrong here? Could not import OctoPrint Z up to the definf is installed, right? Yeah. So this is the kind of error that you get when OctoPrint is not installed under the same environment, but it should actually be installed under the same environment. So this is curious. We are quickly switching over to OctoPrint's thing, and I'm simply going to do the same here. And we are also going to do this and this to make sure. So just in case. Let's see if this fixed it, and if not, this is going to be fun to figure out. Please work. Thank you. Okay. So, if we start the server now, which we will do, and I hope it will do what it is supposed to do, because the day so far has just been one technical difficulty after the next. And it should hopefully find the plugin and load it. And in the meantime, I'm going to eat a gummy bear. This was actually the part that was interesting. Oh dear. Way too verbose. And it found a terminal stats plugin version 101. And this is what I meant with the location. If I had installed it into the side packages folder, it would have looked something like this instead. So this is a pip install without a -e result. And this is a pip install with the -e result, basically. Also, I have no idea why it has so many empty lines down here, but yeah. Apparently, because this is a oh well, let's ignore it. So it's running now, and if we now load it and connect, once it lets us connect to, no, we don't want to ignore that, install that, connect to the virtual printer. We see that nothing happens, which probably means something has crashed somewhere. But it hasn't. So now I'm slightly confused now. Oh, also I forgot to start the timer. Yay me. We have to do that. Yeah, we also need to actually start that one. That doesn't explain though why things got stuck here. Oh no, they might be that we... No, okay. This worked fine just before the stream. We are going to quickly disable this one plugin because we don't really need it right now, and I think it might be messing things. We need that one. I have way too much stuff in here. Okay. And we're going to restart. So if you're wondering about these things up here, this is from an yeah, from Brad's plugin, and I'm still trying to figure out what is up there. So something went wonky there during a test install, and since then it has leftovers stuck in the Python environment that I'm trying to get rid of, which are causing these issues. So yeah, but I don't think they are messing around with the terminal. So let's try that again. Virtual connect. Please connect. Why are you not connecting? Did I do something wrong with the send and receive lines? Because obviously that can also cause this, right? If we are doing something wrong here. No, we are simply send lines, received lines, line handler, blah blah blah. That's all right. So just as a test to figure out if these timeouts that we are currently observing are caused by our plugin, which I suspect, though right now I'm not entirely sure why, but we'll figure this out if it indeed is the case. We are going to disable this quickly. Going to restart then. Oh, somehow my eyes are a bit dry, so apologies for increased winking. And no, Sean, I should not actually have to. Oh wait, maybe I have to for the received line. Let's check the docs. That's actually a good point. I'm pretty sure that I don't have to return anything for the send one, because the send one just, you know, I can't change anything for that anyhow. But maybe you're right, and the received needs. Oh, it definitely needs. Okay, that's the problem. Thank you, Sean. That indeed is the mystery solved probably. So we're going to return the line, and then we're going to re-enable it and restart the server all over again. But just to make sure that it indeed was the problem, see documentation. Reading helps. I should also keep that in mind occasionally, because it was right there in the docs. But I expect this to work now. Yeah. Okay. Good. Ignore that, please. That's just from the tests that I put into the virtual print to test this stuff. So we are going to quickly plugin manager, re-enable that. No, not tab replacement test. Terminal starts plugin. There. Tab replacement test was last week. And then we restart. Yeah, and I know I can also press Ctrl F5, but I usually forget that, because I don't know why. Also, look, I have another cookie again. Okay, so reload. Virtual connect. That looks way better. And then hopefully we'll also send 7 lines, received lines 29. And this hopefully 5 seconds later roughly. That looks like it's working, which is nice. Now we're going to quickly turn that into, just as a test, we're going to do some math here. Because we're going to wait, this is an integer. I think that's correct though, yeah, because we changed the integer division behavior. We're going to divide this by interval, and that should give us the value per second for both. And we are also going to indicate this here, because otherwise we'll get confused by the output maybe. There's restart. Also, I hope the lighting condition is better today. I actually got myself a softbox. So I could also use the polarization filter so that you can actually see my eyes and not the reflection of the mirror of the monitors in my glasses. So this looks good. We are not connected, so this is outputting 0. That's okay. We're going to connect again, and then it's hopefully going to print something else. 1.4 per second, 6 lines per second. And then we're going to print something, because we just want to see these numbers go up. I don't know, maybe just this. Let's see what happens once this thing actually starts to print, because right now it's heating up. I mean, it's not really heating up, but you get the idea. It's simulating a heat up. And this is now printing, or printing. And apparently it's already finished. No, it's stuck in a simulated resend request, I remember. And now it's printing. It's a bit hard to see it right now, but we have something like 67.2, 20, 18. Why is it getting slower? Oh, because it's some long moves. Yeah. So this is apparently working. Now we have to find some way to move this over to the front end. Yeah. So what are we going to do now? First of all, we need to inject something into the front end that actually allows us to react to this stuff. And first of all, wait, we hooked, and we have a worker, and it also resets the counter. And it's still printing. Okay. So I already hinted at it earlier. I don't know what, we're going to remove the settings stuff from now, because we're not actually going to use it, and it's just making stuff more complex or more crowded. So we already have assets that are getting injected here for us, which was part of the generated plug-in skeleton structure. So we're going to work on that now. We have this very basic view model here, which does nothing and which also doesn't get bound to anything, but that is not that big of an issue. Actually, we will not bind it to anything, because all that we want is a view model that reacts to these plugin messages that it will soon get sent by the backend, and then displays them by updating something in the terminal tab. So what we first need to do is inject something into the terminal tab, and so now we'll have to find a place for that. So I would say we are just going to try to maybe inject it between this and this, so that it has a new line in between the send row and the actual terminal window, where it says send and receive lines per second, current value. So we're going to take a look here at the, oh right, I have to drag this over to you. At the HTML code, and we have right, this is the send, the send thing, and this is the terminal output, and we want to inject it before the send panel. And this is the point where I need to look up how this was possible to do in jQuery, because frankly I've forgotten it. Alternatively, I could just take a quick look how I did something similar here, which I'm going to do now because I think that's going to be faster than the other option. On startup, element click, term, pull right, prepend element. Okay, so we're simply going to steal that. I'm going to put it in here. So, what does on startup do? And do I have to tell OctoPrint about this or anything? No, you don't, because you're registering this view model with OctoPrint, and that tells OctoPrint to try to call some stuff on you. And we can take a look into the documentation again. I think so, at least. Was it here? No, that's wrong. That's wrong. We want to go here. Sorry. View models. This is how you register custom view models into OctoPrint. That looks familiar, I think. And these are the dependencies you can inject into it. And here's all these call-ups that OctoPrint will call on your plugin at the appropriate times if your plugin declares these methods. So for example, we just declared on startup, so after the very first initialization of the view model has been done, it has been constructed, and the dependencies that you declared, which we don't have any, but in case you have any declared, they are now resolved and have been injected into your plugin as well. And now this method is called. You can also call stuff on just before your view model is being bound to the HTML bits. You can also do something right after, when all of the view models have been bound, when the full startup cycle has been completed, when the server disconnects and the data updater reconnects, when history data is received, so on first load, current data is received, slicing progress on event, timelapse on data updater, plugin message, and this is something that is also going to be interesting for us because this is the mechanism that we will use to send stuff from our plugin's backend part, so the Python code, over to the front end. User logged in, user logged out. So there's a ton of stuff that you can react to and use in order to make your plugin interact with OctoPrint. And apologies if I just have a bit of a lag in the camera because I'm seeing some stutter again in the preview, at least. I hope I'm still fine, and I hope the audio is also still fine. I have no idea what's up. And then now it's fine again. It's really weird. I never had these issues before, I think. Well, okay. As I said, on startup, and we want, there I was. We want to inject I quickly moved this over to my other screen because I need two windows right now in order to figure out where we want to go. Sorry for that. Because we cannot actually use this one. That's the wrong one. But term is correct. .terminal is this. Pull right. Ah, that puts it there. Okay. I see. No, we don't want that. We actually want to prepend. Nah, we need to do it differently, I think. I think it was called insert after. Insert after actually looks good. But maybe someone who's more fluent in after several elements. No, we only want it after one element on the page, and insert it after another. So that sounds okay. Maybe we'll just quickly try it. I think that's easier than anything else, really. We want this dock to the bottom. Yes, perfect. Oh dear, this is also cramped. I need to find a way to stream with 2 monitors. This is driving me insane. Okay. So we want terminal send panel, right? And we want to insert something before that, right? So we want to create a new, something new, and insert that after this one. I hope you can somehow read this. I have no idea actually if I can increase the, can I maybe just increase the whole, no, I cannot even zoom in here. That's, okay. But we are going to, I don't know, try, what are we going to, just going to do a strong tag with with a hello live stream inside. US layout. And that's hopefully going to do what it's supposed to do. That actually looks, oh no, it inserted it after. I wanted it before. Why did it insert it after? Oh no, I did. Yeah, maybe I should actually tell it what I want instead of this should be insert before, not insert after. Right. That looks good. So this is actually somewhat the code that we need. So we are going to do the following. We're going to declare our, how do we do that? We have a received element. Which for now is undefined. Oh, that's nice. I just have to click one. Wow, okay. Sorry, I just realized how easy it is to type a semicolon on a US layout. And we have the send element, which is also undefined. No, yes. And on startup, we'll declare those. So we're going to remove all this again because we didn't need it after all. Oh, what did it do? We only want this, we don't want the rest. Okay. And then we're going to declare all our container, which will be a div, which we're going to style in a minute, but for now it's going to just be an empty, very sad div. And we are also going to declare our two values, our two elements. So the received element is going to be a span, I think. And we will just set the inner value of that to our received value then. And our send element will basically be the same. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to append that to both to the container. I'm really hoping this is correct. I'm doing this from the top of my head right now. I have to admit, it's been a while since since I last did JS stuff, or rather did jQuery stuff. Send element. And I think we can also do something like can I just do this? Oh, we will see if this works. Boom, boom, boom. Dum, 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 dum. Okay. Sorry, the keyboard not only has US layout, it also does not have any dedicated arrow keys anymore, so I have to use a modifier key, but in the long term I think I will be way more productive with this, but right now I'm still in the adjustment phase. Alright, and maybe we should also say what it is. So container append, if this works, res and no idea if this will work. We will figure it out. And then we are going to insert the container after the send panel, I hope. So if we reload that now, nothing happens. Great. Isn't this wonderful? Why? Why? Console, no debugger. Right. Web assets, that's a plugin. Now I remember. Let me quickly change something which got pulled in by a PR and which is now not making the debugging here not very fun. Where was that? I think it was in server views. Oh wait, I think we can have this easier. JSON. Ha, there it is. Find window was wrong. So we are going to quickly remove that. I'm not sure I'm going to commit this one and just ignore what I'm doing here. I'm hopefully just making debugging easier for me. And I will also have to add a flag for that long term. Oh, thank God, I still have something to drink. This is really bugging me. This empty space, this wasted empty space, apparently for an input line that I'm not even using. Ah, there it is. So that was one issue. Okay, that's way nicer. And thanks for the heads up that it still has an insert after instead of an insert before. There. That will hopefully now make this readable again. Oh, look at that, nice. And now we don't even need to actually debug it because this just worked and yeah, okay, cool. It still looks absolutely horrible, but style is not what we are after here right now. So next thing, so we are making sure we actually have elements that we can populate. Now we need to populate them. And as mentioned, there was this on data, update a plugin message thing here. Nope. Yes. Save. And this is a function that gets what again? I think plugin and message. Yeah. Plugin message. And then, oh dear, there. And if the plugin is not us, we're simply going to leave and ignore that thing because we are only interested in our own messages. And otherwise, we are going to, the message will be structured something like so it will look something like send and then the line, send line, send lines, send lines per second. So you get the drift. So basically it's going to be a JSON object with two attributes, sent and received, and we're going to just take the value out of that and push it into our prepared elements up there, received and sent element, by setting the value, the text. I have to look that up. Actually, it was a jQuery text. Is it text? Dot text. Returns. No, I don't want to. Don't want return it. I want to set it. But apparently I can also do that. Perfect. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to say save received element dot text is message dot received. Yes. And self dot send element dot text is message dot send. So far so good. Now we actually have to make sure that we do get something from the backend. So remember when I said that we do get quite a number of stuff injected into our registered plugin implementations. So one of these things is the plugin manager. And the plugin manager, for some reason, is not properly linked here. This is not making it easy. Plugin? No. Oh, right. For some reason, that was not properly being... Something is broken with the documentation build, apparently. Nice. That's unexpected. And annoying. Because this and this should also be linked. So for some reason it's currently not. Yeah, I'll have to figure out why that is. For now you're going to browse the documentation in the source. Apologies for that. But that's easier than trying to figure out why the documentation build is broken now. Oh no, not docs, sorry. That is actually in the source. So plugin init. No, this is how it's been. It's core. Core looks correct. Oh dear, that's so much stuff. What are we looking for here? Because there is this one. This is still all plugin info, right? Yeah. I'm going to take a bit of a shortcut here. So plugin manager has this method called send plugin message, and you give it a plugin identifier, the data you want to send, and whether there is some kind of permissions that need to be tested again, if you actually are allowed to push this data to the client or not. And this is what we can use, because stuff here, plugin and data, this is the same thing that you receive here, plugin and message. So we are going to call this method on the plugin manager instance that got injected into ourselves with our plugin identifier and the data. And then OctoPrint is going to take care of pumping that stuff through the push socket to our front end, hopefully. So instead, or additionally to what we are already doing here, we are going to make this slightly different. We are pre-calculating the send rate, which is send lines divided by self interval, and then we are going to calculate the receive rate, which is received lines divided by self dot interval. Then we can actually move that line up there, and then we can do our as to the question where my arrow keys are, they are behind mod K for down, mod J for left, and mod L for right, and mod I for up. Which is why you keep seeing me type K when I actually want to go down. Okay, so now self. Oh right, we also need to use this stuff here. Which was it? Send rate and receive rate. and then we're also going to do self plugin manager send plugin message self identifier, which is another of these injected properties which we saw earlier in the docs. And then our dictionary, which consists of, how did we call it? I think just sent and received, right? Yes. So received, or yeah, just stick with the order here, is send rate, and receive is receive rate. That should all hopefully work. Ramses said I would place it under the command input element. Yeah, I actually didn't want to put it there because of the auto scroll controls and such, but yeah, maybe it also makes sense to move these up there. I'm not sure yet. It's just, for now, it's just putting it somewhere, and then we're going to figure it out. And bye Ted, by the way, and have fun with the real job thing. This is my real job. This is so weird. And there was also the question, is there a way to do per plugin docs as part of the plugin package by Aaron? I mean, yes and no. The thing is that OctoPrint just utilizes things in order to do all this documentation stuff, things with Autodoc, and of course you're welcome to do the same for your plugin. Usually I just, plugins usually, or my plugins at least, usually aren't as complicated or complex enough that it warrants a whole things bootstrapping, so I'll just dump the stuff in the README and call it a day. Okay, so this will hopefully work. We are going to restart the server because we changed something on the server, so we have to restart it in order to verify. And it's probably going to look horrible. And I know Ted. And I'm very, very grateful for that. In the meantime, I can eat another gummy bear. The video camera feed always gets choppy during server startup, or at least it does in my preview. I don't know if it actually does it for you. The weird thing is that the CPU, I mean, this is a Ryzen 7, so, and it never did this before. Oh well, I'll figure it out for the next stream, I hope. Probably by Friday, because yeah, I have an RPG session tomorrow night, and I need one evening, Thursday in this case, for myself, and then maybe on Friday we can do another live stream. But yeah, that's just for now. So we restarted, and now we are going to take a look at if things are doing anything here, and this is not looking too great. Oh no, yeah, okay, no. We're reloading this as well, just to be sure. That looks good. Look, there is I mean, it's hard to see because everything is still not, there is no margins in between and such, but there's a 0 and there's a 0. And now we're going to connect, and these lines will hopefully, after 5 seconds, look at that. It's pushing data. Isn't that nice? So, next step is making this a bit more readable, because frankly right now it's a bit of a mess. And for that, I don't know if you already noticed, but we did not only inject some JS files here, but also some lesson CSS files. And so we are going to stick to CSS, I think. Or are we going to... yeah, okay, yeah. So we are going to give this stuff some class attributes. Plugin terminal stats stat. What the? I have no idea what I pressed just now, but it was wrong. I can tell you that much. Now we want that to also go here. And we want this to have a class of, there it is, plugin terminal stats line. I mean, I don't know, container, why not container? Container I think makes more sense. Okay. So now we have two classes and we're going to try to style them. We don't need that because we're not going to use this. Delete. But we have this. So we have plugin terminal stats stat, which we are going to style. And we have plugin terminal stats container, which we are going to style. Oh, nice. That was the wrong key again, as you noticed. That was the right one. First of all, text align, I think. Yeah, text align center, because right now everything is just plastered to the side. And also maybe some padding of, I don't know, 5 pixels for now. Oof. Plop. And we want this to be bold, because why not? Just to give it some style for now. We might color it in, maybe that might make more sense. Then we're going to reload and see if this does anything or if I did it completely wrong. Well, at least it's centered. The rest is... Oh, wait, look at that. Okay. And then... So this needs a bit of white space. And this needs a bit of white space. And then, just because we can, we are going to do this. And yes, we could do all of this as in one append statement, but I'm going to just do it now like that, because why not? And semicolon is so nice to be able to just type it like that. And then we're going to reload this, and then hopefully it will be a bit more readable. Yep. Okay. I think that looks somewhat nice actually now. Let's try a test print and see what happens. We should swap it maybe, right? Because we first send something, then receive something, and now right now it's received and then sent. And 5 seconds might actually be a bit low, I'm thinking. Maybe make it every 2 seconds. Just as a test. Oh, you did mention a swap before. You did indeed. Now that you mentioned that again, I actually do remember. So let's quickly just do that. No, wait. Tap. 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 Oh, what did happen there? Delete was here. Ooh, look at that. Isn't this nice? And one more for good measure. That should hopefully have worked now. Yep, that looks better. Nice. And then I said we want to try a value of 2 here, and this is why I made it a constant, because now I just have to change it in one location and not multiple, because otherwise I would have to have it changed there and down here twice, and now it's just one space. And actually we could even make this configurable, but I don't really see a point in that. We're going to restart and see how 2 seconds feels. Right, connect, and then where is it? There, print. And apparently the vote in the live chat is to make it configurable, so I guess that's what we're going to do. And also there is some complaints about the text jumping around. So the idea here actually would be to pin this stuff to a fixed number of digits, but yeah, that would still jump depending on whether it's a 1 or a 0. The thing is, I don't want to have it left bound, and I also don't want to have it right bound, because that just looks, that would also look weird in my opinion. So maybe just putting it, I don't know, on the left and the right, so send on the left, receive on the right, might be an option. Going to give that a try maybe. But for now I just want to make sure that it actually, yeah, I mean, it seems to work, right? Yeah, I could actually use a plugin row. A plugin row, right? A bootstrap row. Yeah. And then I also need a bootstrap container. What does happen when I do this? And then then we make that a span class what was it? Great, I forgot bootstrap. Span 4. All right. That was how it worked. So we're going to declare that a span 4. Nope, that was wrong. Jesus. Right now I'm really fighting with the US layout. Apologies. Oh, span 6, right. It's 12 columns, not... yeah. All right. So the receive field is this, and we're going to add all of this stuff down here into that instead of the container. And then we are going to just add the... yeah, well, okay, wait. So this is going to be this. And then we're going to do the same for the send field. Spawn class equals spawn 6 as well, because we have a grid system of 12 cells, and we are going to give both of them 1/2 each. And then again we are going to take all this, going to copy it up here, going to replace this with the send field, and then we are going to container append send, yeah, ha, and container append received. And actually we are going to swap these, because I find it a bit weird that we are declaring the received first and then right? I mean, it's just, it's not really important, but that is the why the other one was the Z, Gina. Okay. And then we also, and we're simply going to do this like this for now, because right now it doesn't have a class defined, but we are going to say text align, right? Because we want this right bound, and then we don't need this anymore. And then we can refresh and take a look how it looks. Refresh F5. Okay. Better? There's something that is... wait. The problem, of course, is that now this is jumping. Ah, well, for now I want to figure out what is... look at that. This is not completely flush. Why isn't this completely flush? It's completely flush there. It's completely flush there. Fascinating. Fascinating and problematic, because yeah, the issue is that why doesn't this I'm not going to say the bad word here. Yeah, but then it's still going to jump even if I fix the number of decimals. And more annoying really is this that it's not flush. See, we have now spent about well, minus the technical difficulties at the start, maybe 1.5 hours to create the actual functionality that we wanted, and we are probably now going to spend the same amount of trying to style it in a way that it's visually pleasing. And now you know why my work can be so stressful. No, okay. slightly unsure how to solve this here, because the problem apparently is so these containers. And I have to quickly take a sneak peek somewhere. Okay, can someone please explain to me why it works here without it overlapping with something and the other one doesn't? Or is this... oh wait, or maybe is this caused by the padding? Terminal. Ignore, go away, leave me alone. We don't need the padding. The padding ruins everything. We don't want the padding. Burn the padding with fire. There we go. Okay. Right. And now... any preferences on which one should be red and which one should be green? Or maybe some other color preferences? Highlight it again for a second. Like that. This lag with the live chat is a bit confusing from time to time. So, well. I think we're just going to leave it for like this for now. Even though it's... and colors, I just thought it might be nice to color these numbers in so that you also get this as a visual distinction between which was sent and which was not, but yeah, it's not really that important, to be honest. So for now, what we can say is, yay, we also did that. And now we have 7 p.m. and I'm thinking maybe I'll actually make it so that we also have bytes per second here instead of lines per second. That one can go. So green, blue for cereal, but which one is which, Justin? I'm just going to quickly rename these. This is me trying to guess where the equal sign is. I'm sorry. This is so nicely embarrassing here. And this is also going to be reset, so self dot underscore received bytes is going to be 0 as well, as is self underscore no, yes, send bytes. Ha. Blue is sent and green is received. We're going to quickly try that. We can close this. We don't need that. And we're going to say dot plugin terminal stats stat resp. Oh wait, we are going to make this easier actually. because we have prepared values here in Bootstrap, and yes, I know this is no longer officially supported, but because of the plugins I cannot easily update Bootstrap, and Bootstrap 3 and later is completely backwards incompatible to Bootstrap 2, which OctoPrint uses, and in order to update this I will need a completely new UI, and when I need a completely new UI I can go big bang replacement anyhow, and I will have to do that, and so yeah. For now we are stuck with it, and I constantly have to look up stuff in old versions. So we're going to use text info and text success. Do we actually want to do that? Because yeah, well, I mean, they are not necessarily guaranteed to, in case someone restyles them. Well, for now we are going to use them. And we are going, so this here is received. So this is going to be text success. And this one is sent, so this is going to be text info, I think. No, info? Was it info? Info? Info. And if we now reload, oh wait, I did not want the whole line in that color. Yeah, sorry, that was my mistake. That should go more like this. Yeah, well, we could also have not done that because it's really not visible at all. So we're going to just leave it at being bold and call it a day for now. Especially since I just learned that apparently OctoPrint Themify causes problems with stuff like this, and I don't really want to think about colors now, and no. Instead we're going to, no, this is wrong. Core? Nah. This is where I want to go. Sometimes. Okay. So what we're going to do here is self send bytes dot equals len of what command, and the same goes for self dot receive bytes equals plus equals len of line, and then we can also calculate the send rate in bytes, because that is self send bytes divided by self interval, and the the receive rate in bytes is self dot send received, Jesus, bytes divided by self dot interval, and then we have to set all of that to 0. We're going to quickly just copy this bloody line over. Bam. And we're going to say send rate or this bytes per seconds. We're going to attach an L here. Then we're going to add the others as well. Send rate bytes and receive rate in bytes. And then we're going to rename this. Actually, we're going to rename it completely because otherwise we just get confused. And send rate bytes equals send rate bytes and receive rate lines and receive rate bytes. And I don't know about you, but somehow it really annoys me that this is send rate and this is sent rate. And I'm not even sure which one is the right one. Ew. Going to take this and make it that. It's the send rate, not the sent rate. Okay, and then we'll have to change it in here, right? Because this is now, oh, and we also need received element is now received. Nope. Yes. It's now received lines element. Yeah, refactor please. And this is send lines element, and we also need 2 new ones. Good. Oh, right, I have to, sorry. We duplicate this. And this is also bytes. Now, Brian, you know that there are 3 hard problems in programming: naming things and off by 1 errors. And this is going to be still fighting with the keyboard layout, and apologies. Yep, refactor please. D. This is also going to be refactored, of course. Oh great, the refactoring did not really work. All right. Come to think of it, maybe I just did it way too difficult because do we actually want both stats, or are we happy with one? For now we get both because now I wrote both. Too bad. Oh. Also this. Do not judge me for the visual appeal, please. I just want to first make this work, and then we can style things. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jim, for spotting this. That would have bitten me in the behind. And this is a received bytes element. Send field, receive field, plup, plup, plup. Received. How did we call it again? Send rate lines and send rate bytes, and receive rate lines and receive rate bytes. Okay, also, so this is receive rate lines, receive bytes element dot text is message dot receive rate bytes, bytes, bytes. And This is send rate lines. And this is send rate bytes. And this is also received, received, received. Send field, received lines, send bytes, send lines, that actually looks okay. And we don't need this. Oh. No, I did not want to press Ctrl Z, I wanted Ctrl Y. Apologies. Ha! Okay. And the vote is for this. Okay. And now we restart. Hopefully we get the stats in both units. Well, it looks a bit weird, but virtual. Also, I need to reload actually because this is still the old UI. Yeah, all this jumping around will drive everyone nuts. We are going to change that. But for now, just a quick look if it actually is. Yeah. Seems to work, I think. The problem, of course, is that the granularity is not that great with 2-second sampling rate. Also keep in mind that this is not the maximum throughput that is achievable, but the maximum that is being simulated for this particular print job, because the virtual printer also simulates certain delays due to movement. And the real print job would also be like that. What would be interesting here is simulating an upload to SD. I think I'm actually going to order food for in about half an hour. Oh, never mind. That just had... the virtual printer is a plugin that is bundled in OctoPrint, so that is in source, OctoPrint, plugins, virtual printer. And I'm going to try if I can upload a small. Oh dear. No, that looks small. So that should, yeah, that's sending to SD. Oh, interest. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah. So you see that it is not increasing the, it's not showing any values there. That's because the hooks are disabled when stringing to SD, because you do not want any kind of plugin to mess around with G-code that is supposed to be written as is to the SD. So it does not work for measuring SD throughput. That's annoying. I'll have to think about how to solve that maybe. But yeah, so I was just informed that apparently my dinner will be arriving in hopefully something like 20 minutes. I'm thinking that maybe that would not be a good idea now to start with a quick implementation of settings here. But what I'm going to do is, so we have this. We are going to add a new one here for better styling without jumping around of values. And then next time, and yes, Sean. Yes, Sean, I think we'll actually have to rewrite it as a printer callback. So measuring of SD stream throughput, printer callback. So we're going to do that. So the idea is, I'm going to wrap it up for today, and we are going to do a part 2 of this here, where we'll tackle these points here. So we'll take a look at how to style this a bit better, though maybe that is not the highest priority really. Let's do it like this. Yeah, and we are going to look into maybe plotting stuff as a sparkline through time, something like over the past minute or so that you actually see some stuff. And maybe if we get around to do it, we will also look into this, but we'll concentrate on these 3 points first. And this will be the plan for next time, which probably will be on Friday. For now, what I will do is I'll actually commit what we currently have to the OctoPrint plugin not plugin repository, but to the OctoPrint GitHub, so that if you want, you can take a look at that, what we wrote out here, and maybe play around with it yourself, or send PRs. No, please don't. I mean, in theory, yes, but yeah, it would be good if I still have these points to implement by Friday, because otherwise I'll have to think of something new again. So we are quickly going to write a very basic README here. Injects measurements of current throughput of throughput to/from the printer into the terminal tab in lines per second and bytes per second. Install via the bundle plugin manager, and we don't have any configuration. So this is a very, very, very basic README. And now we are simply going to git init. Now we're going to wait. We need git add bubble. This thing itself, the requirements text. We don't need the extras, we don't need the info, we need the setup file, we need the manifest, we need the readme, and for now we also need the translation. And then we're going to write initial commit as coded during the live stream. Can I on April 4th? I have no idea what happened now. Hey, I want to type here. Great. Oh! Apparently, I have no idea what's up there. Ah! 2020 at... How do I paste stuff into this terminal? Well, okay. In that case, we are going to okay. And then we are quickly going to whip up a new repository for that thing at github.com/OctoPrint, and we're going to call it new repository. Not under my thingy, but here. OctoPrint terminal stats. Right? Oh, we called it with a lowercase s. Yeah, and we are going to call it with a lowercase s here as well. And we are going to copy the short description from here because this is easier. Description optional, coded during OctoPrint code and chat, work in progress. Public. We're not going to initialize it, we're simply going to create it. And then we are going to... Alright, I cannot copy, I have to type it. Git remote at origin, git at... Oh no, the at is here. github.com. OctoPrint /OctoPrint terminal stats.git git push -u origin master. Hopefully that works. Looks like it did. So now there you have it. It's online. If you want, you can play around with it. And let me quickly take a look at the live chat. Please tell me I still have sound. Yeah, I do. Okay, because yeah, YouTube is saying things. I have to admit I usually do not use these min-gw command thingies because I have a conemu in Quake mode on the big screen, and there I can just right click and everything works, and I can even use Control V and everything works for pasting, but in these things here, I have no idea. But let's try Shift, Insert. Ah, okay, cool. Learn something. I remember this from the basic days, but that's not the basic, the DOS days, but that's a long time ago. And also, how does it feel knowing OctoPrint is the workhorse printing all the stuff for COVID-19? Have you collected any stats on that? Okay, a quick look actually, if I can quickly dig it up, because I have collected stats on that and they are disturbing. And they also explain why I'm drowning in tickets, not in tickets, but in support requests, and why the past 3 weeks have been the most stressful weeks I think I ever had. Yeah, because do you see this? So this is the print starts and print finishes over the course of the past 60 days, and it has almost doubled. It has doubled. The cancellations I think is for dialing in stuff. That's the only thing that I can understand so far, or that I'm guessing so far, because they are really unusually high, and even when I broke stuff they weren't that high, and I didn't do any releases since right about here. So yeah, I think this is people dialing in stuff and cancelling it immediately again. But yes, it at least helps me with my own bad conscience for not getting around to doing any meaningful printing myself, because I'm getting so buried in work right now because of this, I guess. And yeah, people also, I mean, even the people that are not using the time to print PBE, they are probably also just have more time to do stuff, figure out stuff, find bugs. And yeah, I took off the past 5 days, and I already feel kind of again. So yeah, this I always, currently on Twitter, there are so many people who are like, I'm bored, and I if you don't have anything to do right now, you need to learn a new skill. And I'm like, guys, people, I'm like, I have never had so much stress before in my life as right now, so please stop with these tweets. But yeah, okay, so where's my, there, okay, the little, like that, good. Okay, so as I said, the next one probably on Friday. We will continue where we just left off. With the we'll try to. What did I say? What were we going to do? We'll try to switch it over to measuring the SD stream throughput. Actually, adding another thing. We wanted to make the interval configurable, because we also need that. And sparkline plotting throughput over time, better styling without jumping around of values, and maybe a separate process if we can still squeeze that in. Maybe not, I'm not sure yet. But yeah, so this is the current outline. Probably on Friday. Pretty sure on Friday. Maybe next week, but pretty sure on Friday. And until then, I guess, yeah. I just hope it was interesting again. The live chat suggests that it was. And I also hope that you find it helpful to see how a plugin is built from the ground up. I've been meaning to do this actually for 3 years now, or something like this, and this live stream situation right now, or rather this current situation, which prompted me doing live streams, now finally gave me the chance to actually do it. So yay, something off my bucket list. Yeah. And with that being said, I hope my dinner will be ready soon. Chances are good, I think. I will see you again on Friday, and until then, you hopefully will stay healthy and wash your hands regularly and all that, and I'll see you then, and until then, happy printing. Bye.